Okay, we still have 30 seconds or a minute. We'll give it a little time.
Let me see, can I get into mine?
Everyone ready? It's 9 o'clock. Welcome to the February the 20th BOS board meeting. If you would, everyone, just take a second and please cut your phone on silent. Be appreciative. And as always, we'll start off with a word of prayer by Dwayne, and Will lead us in the pledge. Please stand.
Pray with me, please. Heavenly Father, we bow before you this morning, God. We first of all want to thank you just for being who you are, God, for waking us up this morning, for watching over us and giving us another day and guiding us through life, God. I just ask that you be with anybody that's sick, God, anybody that's downtrodden that needs you, God, that they would reach out to you. And just be with us in this meeting this morning, God, that every decision that's made today will be pleasing to you and in accordance with your will for Madison County. Just forgive us where we fail you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Will?
Yes, sir. Attention, salute, pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let me see one of those papers.
Mr. Lott, welcome back.
Thank you, Mr. President.
You're
Y'all
up.
have before you the February the 5th board minutes. I would ask if there are no changes, the board please approve said minutes.
Are there any changes? If not, do I have a motion? Motion for Supervisor Baxter. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Supervisor Griffin. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Next on the list is concerned citizens, but I'd like to move that around just a little and bring Phyllis Doty up. If you will, please come up and just state your name and give your address. And I know you have a good bit to present, but maybe 3 or 4 minutes, 5.
Certainly. Good morning, Board. My name is Phyllis Doby, and I serve as the Secretary of the Mansdale-Livingston Heritage Preservation District, hereafter MLHPD. I reside at 737 Mansdale Road in Madison. And thank you for your time today. If it pleases the Board, may we approach and pass out Ad and Crystal Phillips. May we approach and pass that out?
Or maybe give them to Greg. Either way. How many copies do you have?
I have enough for everyone.
Plus-
All the Board, Mr. Espy,
Okay.
Mr. Lott,
Great.
and
Thank you.
Mr. Banks. Is he coming?
I think he's out of town.
No, he won't be here.
Yeah,
Right here.
but Greg, if you will, make sure he gets his copy.
Ms. McGuffey is passing out your information on behalf of MLHPD Commission.
Morning.
We would like to thank Rita for her unwavering commitment to the overlay district. Rita's term is expiring in March, and again, thank you does not seem adequate for the work she has done for this community. In addition to your packet, included is a letter from David Nutt that was emailed to MLHPD during the weekend. He asked that this letter be included as a record of the minutes. MLHPD requests our submittal be included in the record of minutes as well. I'm not going to read this 250-page document as President Steen asked me to keep it to a brief minute. I would like to just hit the highlights of our letter of findings and recommendations. Gentlemen, as directed by the Board of Supervisors at the meeting on January the 18th, 2024, the MLHPD Commission held a public meeting in the Parish Hall of the Chapel of the Cross Church on January the 30th. Prior to the meeting, the Commission requested and received a copy of all the documents which the Phillips produced to the Board of Supervisors, and Scott Weeks gave them out at our meeting on January the 30th. At said meeting, we received comments from the public, arguments from the Appellant's Counsel, Phillips Counsel, comments from the Planning and Zoning Administrator and the Planning and Zoning Attorney, and extensive presentations by both of the Phillips. The proceedings were videotaped and also transcribed at the Phillips' request. This was the 5th meeting of the MLHPD Commission with the Phillips. You can see page 27 in your docket. It lists all 5 sets of our minutes, which are Exhibit 2. We carefully considered all the information and all the facts presented by the Phillips and their attorney, including but not limited to information that normally would not be relevant. The Board of Supervisors charged us with the duty of resolving all issues. However, under Article 1900 of the Madison County Zoning Ordinance, it was impossible for MLHPD to approve the Phillips petition. The Phillips contend that group housing is authorized in commercial areas within the district. From the inception of MLHPD, the MLHPD Commission, the Planning and Zoning Board, and the Board of Supervisors, we all have consistently denied similar requests. Please see Exhibit 3, page 97 and 98. MLHPD recommends that the Madison County Board of Supervisors deny the petitioner's application for a certificate of appropriateness for the Oaks. If you will see page 145 and page 147 in your document, there are letters. First on page 145 is from Mississippi Department of Archives and History. The second on page 147 is the Mississippi Heritage Trust. Both agencies have put in writing that they uphold our denial based on the certificate of appropriateness. It is a use that is either expressly or implication prohibited in an overlay zone, where more restrictive standards shall apply, Exhibit 3, page 96. On January the 30th, MLHPD denied the Oaks, which is inappropriate and does not meet the standards of the Mansdale-Livingston Heritage Preservation District. 6 commission members denied it and 1 voted to be present. Also, the Board of Supervisors have also put in writing and denied overnight living quarters within a commercial zoning. The proposed usage is not allowed in the district, and the Phillips propose to build a 15-bed personal residential assisted living, luxury assisted living facility adjacent to the recreated town of Livingston. Section 1903 further prohibits the list of items that are not all-inclusive here. Applications for living quarters in the commercial areas have been denied since MLHPD was established. The character of the proposed building is incongruent, inharmonious, and out of character with the existing visual features in MLHPD. It's also being placed in the town of Livingston, which is designated as a resort area. The documents presented by the Phillips initially said 5 buildings. They have currently shown you 1 acre, 1 building, but they're asking for a conditional use on the entire 5.08 acres. So that to us is another issue that we feel needs to be, that you need to address. Exhibit 3, page 100. Confusion still continues on the type use requested. They initially clarified the property as a luxury assisted living facility. No certificate of appropriateness was ever submitted to MLHPD during the first 4 meetings. We have taken a lot of information during our meeting. In closing, numerous individuals commented that waiting lists existed at many of the area homes in assisted living, that there was a shortage of beds, 30 to be exact. The proposed facility will have 15 beds in it. So MLHPD commission members checked with St. Catherine's Village. They can take me today. We checked with the Orchard. They can take me today. There's a new facility called the Vitality Senior Services. They're asking people to sign up. So the Blake was the only place that had a waiting list. So in closing, MLHPD respectfully requests the Board of Supervisors to deny the Oaks as a public quasi-facility, as an overlay zone is a zoning district that is superimposed over more than one base zoning district and is intended to protect certain features and buildings. Where standards of the overlay zone and base zoning district are different, the more restrictive standards shall apply. Again, thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Phyllis. Are there any questions from the board?
Phyllis, I was at your meeting. This looks to be more than two.
Yes.
Where, is there a page, what page is the?
If you go and look at, you will find it under Letters of Findings and Recommendation, page 143. There were a list of 11 reasons, but the main one is the Certificate of Appropriateness, which shows that this is not an appropriate use in this historic overlay district.
So, Ms. Doby, you've denied this multiple times.
Twice.
We had a public hearing. We, as the board, voted to send it back to you to do a more thorough finding. I was at that meeting that Trey was at as well, and I saw everyone vote and how they voted. Do you feel like your board has done its due diligence and the final decision has been made?
I do,
Okay,
respectfully.
in that case, honestly, Paul, at our last meeting that we discussed this, you put up a motion to deny. I would defer to you to resubmit that to deny.
Well, since we sent it back to the Livingston Development, MLHPD, coming forward, it would need to go through the planning board again
Well,
to make sure that it is proper and legal. Am I right, Mike? Since we send it back to Plan 1.
I think Andy may probably better to answer that.
if Paul doesn't want to make a motion to deny, I make a motion to deny, and we just finish it right here.
All right, we got a motion to deny. Do we have a second? Second. Got a second. Further discussion. Andy, is Andy in? Yes, sir.
Would you like for me to sit down?
Either way, you can just stand up
I'll-
or
I'll
move
sit down.
aside where Andy is.
3.5 hours of it.
Andy, I'm going to follow up just a little bit with both of the questions I was asked, but
Yes, sir.
I know the board asked Mansdale, Livingston, to go back and revisit this, and they have. A lot of information here, a lot of information. And so, if you would, refresh our memory on the Planning and Zoning Board, how they looked at this, and did they look at it before it went to Mansdale or after? I can't remember. How many times has it been in front of the Planning and Zoning?
At least twice, I believe.
What was the last time?
The last time was when MLHPD had, I guess, decided to stand on their previous denial. Came before us and was presented, and the vote was to approve 4-1, to approve the site plan. And then I think that's when it came back to you guys, and, got sent back to MLHPD, and that's where we are today. So Planning and Zoning has approved it 4-1, but they've approved it, fair enough, without all of the information there from the MLHPD district.
Right, and that's really where I was
Yeah.
headed with this, is that this is so sensitive, because we all know, either way this board chooses to vote on it, the chances are good it's gonna end up in court.
Yes, sir.
And we just need to we just need, to me, I think the Planning and Zoning Board needs to revisit this and get their minutes straight, like Mansdale organization did.
Well-
Their minutes is good in here.
You're creating a record.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, so.
Here's my thing of why we should proceed right now and have a vote is
Right.
in section 805, conditional use permits, special exceptions. Planning and Zoning Commission, who we're sending this back to, because they approved it, shall not grant a conditional use unless satisfactory provision and arrangement has been made concerning all of the following. And you can skip down. G and H are what's important. The general compatibility with adjacent properties and other properties in the district. They have found, the people that we put in charge, the boots on the ground, that we say, hey, does this meet this criteria, said no. And then H, any other provision deemed applicable by the Planning and Zoning Commission or the Board of Supervisors. To me, that says that we are the end game. We're here right now. There's a motion to deny, and I don't think it needs to go back to P and Z. I think we need to have a vote right now, and we can deny.
All right. Thank you, Supervisor Brandon. What do you be the attorney at this point, understanding what's in front of us? Which way do you recommend?
My recommendation, of course, subject to your vote, would be that it go back to planning and zoning with those recommendations from the MLHPD for review. So that, just like I said a minute ago, so that the record is clean for both sides, quite frankly.
Yeah, and to me, that's the way it needs to be. And then come to the board, and then if the board chooses to deny it, then our records would be clean as well.
Correct.
So, yeah, I'm gonna make a substitute motion to send it back to the Planning and Zoning Board for their review of the minutes that was given to us today. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'm gonna second that motion, just because of what Andy is saying. We need to have our records, our minutes, clear, because we're gonna more or less end up in court anyway. And having where the planning board proved it, then turn it right around, the board of supervisors denied it, could get a little tangled up in court. So that's where I stand on it.
Supervisor Brandon, I don't disagree with what you're saying. The only thing that I'm trying to do is just make sure our minutes are correct if it goes to court. That's really the only thing that only reason I made the substitute motion.
Okay. Well.
So substitute motion comes first, so all in favor of substitute motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No?
Okay, we go back to the original motion. All in favor of the original motion to deny it, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No. It goes nowhere at this point. So we'll take it under advisement and move forward from there. And both sides make good arguments, the pros and cons. So, fellas, thank you. And also, Andy, do you have a copy of these?
I don't have a hard copy, but I do have them. Can I have this copy? Thank you. I now have a copy of these.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, we're going to go back to concerned citizens and kind of get back in line. Greg, concerned citizens?
No, sir. I don't. No names on the list.
Any concerned citizens out that would like to have a couple of minutes? If not, we're going to move on to consent items. All consent items, are there any consent items need to be removed? If not, do I have a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion for approval. Do I have a second? I'll second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. We'll come down to item 38, Sunnybrook Children's Home.
Okay.
Mike, did you get a chance to look at this?
I did, it's sufficient.
Okay. I'll make a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
Second it.
Second. Supervisor Griffin, discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed. Okay, Tim?
All right, Board, I got 3 items for you today for your consideration. These are proposals for the next round of MPO funding. The MPO has made a call for projects, and we have looked at the 3 projects that the board has put out for us to look at, which are Weisenberger widening, which came out of the Kaiser traffic study, the widening of Stribling Road, which came out of the study that Kaiser Traffic did for the Stribling Road area, and then the upgrades to the intersection of North Old Canton and Yandell Road. So the first item I have for your consideration is a resolution, a request for a resolution and a cover letter for an application for Weisenberger Road for congestion mitigation grant.
Do I have a motion? I'll make a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Supervisor Griffin. And if you would, explain that to us a little more. And
What Weisenberger we would be doing on that project is intersection improvements to US 51 at Weisenberger, Yandell,
right,
and then widening Weisenberger from 51 over to Parkway East, making what's currently a 2-lane road a 5-lane road.
what would that do to help with Yandell Road as far as moving traffic?
Well, it takes what is a bottleneck currently at 51, and it takes 2 through lanes all the way over to Parkway East. Allows you at Parkway East to make either a north or a southbound movement there with 2 through lanes all the way to that point. Once Reunion opens up, you'll be able to make a southbound left, northbound right, have 2 movements to get to the interstate. But it frees up Yandell. You know, you don't have that bottleneck there at 51. It allows you to continue with 2 through lanes across the intersection, which in effect doubles the amount of people you can get through, or number of cars you can get through.
And is this where the city of Gluckstadt is?
Yes, the city of
Co-sponsoring with us?
Gluckstadt is a co-sponsor on this project with us.
Okay, and what kind of cost are we looking towards?
This one, total cost on this project is about $11.5 million.
Okay. All right,
And
other
we-
question? I'm sorry, go ahead, Tim.
And we're asking for $2.7 million from MPO. And by no means is that everything we need, but that gets us started, and that gets us the best chance of getting this federal money, because there's not but $7 million in capacity improvements.
Yeah, well, it's just like the next item we're gonna talk about. I mean, traffic concerns there in Gluckstadt, Yandell, Stribling, Catholic Road. You know, it's a must for us to continue to work on those and to move them. So, other questions for Tim? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
All right? Yes, sir, I've got a couple more.
Item 40.
Let's see, 40 is Stribling Road, Catlett Road, same request. This request is to widen Stribling Road. This would begin at the intersection of Caroline Boulevard and go back to the east to tie into the current project that we have on Catlett, beginning at Red Fox Lane. This would be a realignment of Stribling Road. It would make Stribling Road and Catlett the main route, and North Catlett would tie into this new road, and it would not be the main route. So Stribling Road would be the continuous movement. You would not have to stop anymore.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Motion for approval? Got a motion, Supervisor Baxter. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Supervisor Brandon. Further discussion?
Timeline we'll be talking about to get this project, working with the MPO. Both of these two that we've just mentioned would be about a 2028 construction time on these.
What kind of money is we talking about?
This one is around 10 million.
Around how much?
10.
Yeah, 10 million.
That's for the 2
That's for each.
each.
Yeah, 11 and a half for 1 and 10. But again, there's just so much traffic there. And this is really just phase 1.
It is.
I
This
mean,
is
we
a
really-
start.
That's right. This is just a start because we really need to go further on down Stribling just to move the traffic that's currently there today. You know?
Right.
And so, and we know that there's going to be more homes built, you know? Okay, it passed item 41.
All right. 41 is,
Oh, did we not? All in favor? All opposed? Thank you, Gina. Item 41.
all right, this is a safety improvement project for the intersection of Yandell Road at Old Canton Road. This would be the addition of a traffic signal and intersection geometry improvements to the intersection of North Old Canton at Yandell.
Okay, and this is another project that will help.
Yes, this will help.
Traffic.
Right.
So, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion Supervisor Griffin, do I have a second? I'll second. Discussion? Any other info? What's the cost on this one, Tim?
This one's around $3 million.
Okay, good deal. Other discussion?
This is this coming out of the same pot of money the other two?
It is not. This comes out of safety improvements money, whereas the other one comes out of congestion mitigation money. So it's all out of MPO money, but it's two different pots, and they don't compete against each other.
Okay, if you will, just for everybody that might be listening, explain the MPO, how it works.
All right.
Basically, it's not a guarantee that you're gonna get this money.
Right. This is federal money that is funneled down to the metropolitan area, and the money comes to the MPO, which is the Metropolitan Planning Organization, and they are the ones that divvy up the money, if you will. And you submit, each municipality, or LPA, local public agency, submits applications to the MPO, and their criteria that these applications must meet. And each thing that you meet on that criteria gives you points. And the more points you get on these applications, the higher you rank, and they just grade them. And the higher you rank on those applications, they give applications out until they run out of money. You know, they may have 5 applications, they may have run out of money at application number 3. If they do, then 4 and 5 don't get money in each criteria, or in each application, or each subsection.
All right.
Okay, and any other questions?
When you say they grade them, who is they?
I'm not sure who the selection team is, but I believe there's somebody from MDOT on it. There's somebody from CMPDD on it. But I can get you the list of agencies that do that.
Okay, thank you.
And Tim, there's how many counties that's a member of CMPD?
There's 7 counties that are members, but I think the MPO that this money is through is just 3.
Okay. Does that include the cities?
It does. It includes the municipalities and the counties in Rankin, Hines, and Madison County.
Yeah. So basically what we do is compete against the other counties that qualify and the other cities that qualify for the same pot of money. And so that's where, you know, we could get money and we could not.
Right. This is not a guarantee. This is an application.
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion, questions? If not, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? And Tim, this is about $20 million total?
Yes, a little over.
Those 3, a little 20, 21, something like that. Okay.
Tim, before you sit down, I wanted to discuss Bozeman Road Phase 1, not necessarily the monetary side, but the construction side. When I came into office, that was a project that the previous county engineer had gotten some CMPD money for. And it was something that I went down there and helped rescue the $4.5 million because the time frame was running up for the bicycle trail. But what I wanted to know is just to refresh us all, what steps have already been taken to get Bozeman Road Phase 1 under construction as far as environmental design? Will you run through that with us real quick?
Okay. On a project like Bozeman, you go through the environmental phase, which is where you go through and you do cultural resources. You check to see if there's any plants or anything that need to be looked at. You go through that, then you go through the preliminary design, you go through purchase of right-of-way, you go through utility relocation, and then you are actually able to construct the project.
As an estimation, what would you think as far as what the county spent and the utility contractors have spent to this point getting Bozeman Phase 1 ready for construction?
We have spent close to $6 million so far. Utility companies, it would hard to say. It would be several million, I would say.
So
50.
in the neighborhood, just a guesstimation, 10 million total, 12 million, I mean.
I'd say 10 may be a good estimation.
Okay, and that was a 7-year process?
I believe so.
And
Been working on it since I came
when
here.
we started this project, or over the last several years, I worked with the Clearwater Group and the legislature. This is probably more Greg's territory, but in that process, I was worried that the support may be lost at some juncture to push forward with the project. And in the legislation, I asked for the money that was appropriated to be put, the language in the legislation to be for Bozeman Phase 1, and that's probably something more Greg could, and I know we're getting to Greg, but, and just before you sit down, the last bid that came in for construction of Bozeman Phase 1, what was the total amount?
Roughly 37.7 million.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I have a few questions along with that.
Is this on Bozeman as well?
Yeah, this is on Bozeman.
Okay.
So when we put out the bid last year, was there enough money in the pot to pay if somebody had come in and done that? Was there money there?
Supervisor Brandon, just to make sure I understand the question, are you asking if we had secured $30+ million in funding prior to bidding?
Yeah.
The answer to that would be no.
Okay. All right. So has the engineer's estimate changed? My understanding is it hasn't, and neither has MDOT's. If that hasn't changed, we should be able to rebid this, correct?
The ability to rebid it is contingent solely upon this board's vote.
Okay.
That's not a Tim thing or a me thing. That is a board decision. Y'all say rebid it, we'll rebid it. We may have to up the budget some because that initial estimate of 36 is probably closer to 40, 42 by now, if I were a betting man.
Okay. So is it possible we need to send that back to the engineers and MDOT for a new estimate so that we can get an idea of what's going on here? Because, you know, you've got $7.5 million on this pie chart that we have in front of us for Bozeman Phase 1. That is designated as state funding. I know that in 2021, $5 million of that was given to us by the state, and the legislature specifically said that it would be beginning at the intersection with Mississippi Highway 463 and proceeding north. Is it possible that, say, whatever we have available, we maybe we bid and start from there? We hope and pray that more contractors will actually bid, and we're where we were when we bid this, 4 months ago and denied it? Or we change the scope of the project. We still start so we don't lose our $5 million and our $2.5 million that were specifically earmarked for this project from our state to start at 463 and maybe re-engineer it to the point where we can afford it.
There are always options to redesign or what they call value engineer, I think is probably the term they would use, which is just cost cutting. I do believe that the 5 million from Senate Bill 2971 and the 2.5 million from House Bill 1353, which are, all of that language is on the third page of what's in front of you and should probably be entered into the minutes at some point, should this board deem that necessary. The exact language is to assist Madison County in paying costs associated with making improvements to Bozeman Road, beginning at its intersection. So there's two schools of thought there on the actual language. The first school of thought is any section of Bozeman Road from its intersection with 463 North is eligible. The second school of thought is that the construction has to begin at the intersection with 463. The Department of Finance and Administration with the state, who is kind of the ones that ultimately cut, well, they already cut the checks, but they're the financial arm of the state, has taken the view that any section of Bozeman Road north of its intersection is eligible, and construction need not begin at the intersection with 463.
So beginning at its intersection with Mississippi Highway 463 and proceeding north is, my understanding is that the intent is that we start at 463 and work our way north.
That may well
And
be the
intent
case.
are two different things, but, you know, I was at a meeting last night, and there were a lot of citizens there, concerned citizens, and it was expressed many times, the ineptitude of this board in getting anything done that benefits the citizens of Madison County. I wanted to take offense to that because I am new. I have no prior activities that led to the ineptitude of this board getting anything done in Madison County. But as the more I thought about it, I signed up for this. I am the board. My newness is not an excuse. I personally do not want to be part of something where the citizens of the county feel that we are inept. I mean, government trust is at an all-time low, and with reason. If we can't follow the intent and the letter that says that this project, phase one, needs to start at 463 and proceed north and get this rebid, then I don't see how we, as a board, are dissuading anyone from thinking that our board is inept. If we didn't have the money to bid it in September or whenever it was bid previously in the last term, we shouldn't have bid it. That's, from my understanding, is you have to have the money to bid a project to award it. So if we don't have the money, we don't award it, or we don't put it out for bid. If we do have the money, and the scope is the same, the engineering is the same, everything is the same, it is our responsibility to put this out for bid and let the cards fall where they may.
Greg, the process is bid it, borrow, and go back to the legislature on a lot of these road projects, correct?
Correct. It's a semi-regular occurrence, particularly for projects that are in the $40 million range. Ultimately, some of that money is going to have to be bonded. That's just all there is to it. Reunion 2, Reunion 3, Bozeman 1, Bozeman 2, that there are some bonds coming our way.
Yeah.
There is no doubt about that. We, as you can see on the little pie chart in front of you, as it currently sits, we're light about $62.3 million, and to be honest with you, that number's low.
There's no way to know how much to borrow if you don't have a bid. Confirmed
Tim,
bid.
I'm sorry. If you would, Greg, and you're on the agenda to do
Yeah,
this.
it's already out there.
And I know they kind of, caught you on Bozeman Road, but if you would, to kind of help clear this up a little, start with what you have on here, I guess, Bozeman 2 or Reunion 2.
All right.
And work your way to Bozeman And that
Sure.
way, and then it may clarify some things.
Certainly. All right, bye, Tim. Reunion 2, you can see on your pie chart there, we've got $17 million from the state allocated, and the sources of that funding are on the third page there. Senate Bill 3065 from 2019 was $8 million. House Bill 1730 from 2020 was $5 million. And then 2021 was Senate Bill 2971. That one is particular to somewhere on Bozeman. House Bill 1353 is the same story. And then last year, thanks to some help from the state, which I think I can speak for this board and say we are very, very grateful for all of this help from the state. That was $12 million, and that was either Reunion Parkway or the Bozeman Road expansion project. Just based on immediate needs, that money was allocated to Reunion 2 and Reunion 3. Those have already been let, and we are collectively in the hole there, 15.1 plus 7.5, which is $22.6 million on just the two that we have outstanding.
Right, and that is the money that we're gonna bond to.
It's got to come from somewhere, yes,
That's
sir.
right.
Whether it be bonds, the state, the feds.
Yeah, that's
That's
right.
what we're short, though, yes, sir.
Yeah, but that's what our intentions were, I think, or that's what our thoughts were, to
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead and bond anywhere between 22 or 25, just for those two, projects.
Yes, sir. If that's the board's intent, if the
Yes,
board says
right.
bond it, by
That's
God,
right.
we'll bond it. If the board happens to believe that there's more help coming from somewhere else, then obviously we wouldn't bond that much. But I don't know if there is or isn't. That's a
Tim,
board
if you
decision.
would, come up just a little, and Greg, you stay up as well, because I know we've talked a good bit about this, actually. And let's talk about Bozeman Phase 1,
Okay.
and tell us what it covers. Again, just refresh us what it covers.
Bozeman Phase 1 runs from 463 up to Reunion Parkway with roadway widening.
Right?
North of there is intersection improvements at the intersection of Gluckstadt Road.
Okay?
Proceeding south and including a turn lane into Belterre.
And that estimate came in at
37.7. That also includes a multi-use path that runs from 463 all the way up to Gluckstadt.
We're going to talk a little bit about that as well, but that's 30.
37.7
We're going to
is
just
what
say
the bid.
38, just round it off.
All right.
All right, with that. Now, does that include everything to get that road completed, as far as engineering fees, labor, traffic labor?
Well, there was,
Is it shovel-ready? So if we put it out for bid and we accepted a bid, there's no project, there's no power lines need to be moved, no utilities need to be moved. It is a check gets signed and work gets done. It's that ready, right?
Go ahead and answer that, but I want to back up to my question.
Sorry, I thought I was expounding
Yeah.
on your.
yes, it's
it's a little
shovel-ready, pretty close. There's a little bit of utility work that still has to be done, but yes, you're right, it is shovel-ready.
Okay.
But I want to go back to
38 million plus, I think, roughly 1.2 in CNI services.
All right,
and
how much would it be total for everything if we bid it out and the board decides to move forward with it? And this includes everything else. Construction includes, does it include everything besides the engineer? Or is it more to it than just engineering fees?
Well, you've got the 6 million we've spent so far. You got the 37.7 estimated if we rebid it and it comes in at that. And then you've got 1.2 or so for CNI.
All right.
So
So
that's-
basically, how many more millions would it take to do phase 1?
More millions, 38 plus 1.2, so
Okay.
39.2.
Yeah, 39. We just
Okay.
use that for 39.
Does the $7.5 million from the state have any kind of expiration date or term of, we really can't do anything about it, you've already been given it, but we like for you to use it in this amount of time?
DFA generally allots 5 years.
So we're 3 years into our 5 years? I believe the first 5 million was awarded in '21 at some point,
That would make sense, yes, sir.
so.
Greg, and when you're done with him, give me those Senate bill numbers for Bozeman Phase 1, please.
Sure. Okay, sorry, Supervisor Brandon, what was your question?
I
to
just was
clarify.
asking if there was an expiration
Oh, it was the
date.
5
So
years.
if we sit on this too long, are we gonna lose our $7.5 million, and then it's really never gonna get done?
If we sit on it past the expiration date, DFA has the right to claw that money back, yes.
Okay.
Now,
And it's my understanding that Bozeman Road Phase 2 has nothing done. It's a 36-month project, nothing's been engineered, nothing's been moved.
We are
So
at-
even talking about Bozeman Phase 2 is moot.
Phase 2 is at 50% plans, which Tim can elaborate on that, but from a 30,000-foot view, it's designed, it's laid out, we know what right-of-way we have to buy and roughly what utilities need to be moved, but Tim may be better
Tim, if you will, let's
equipped to
move,
handle
let's move to Bozeman 2 then.
Wait, Greg, hold on. What's those bill numbers?
All right, sorry. Let's see, for Bozeman, the bill numbers are Senate Bill 2971 from 2021 and House Bill 1353 from 2022.
Okay.
Tim, let's move on to Bozeman 2 and just give us an update on where we are and what has happened, or where are we on Bozeman 2 at this point?
Okay, we've got the design of Bozeman 2 at the point of where we need to start buying right-of-way. And we've kind of held off on purchasing right-of-way until we figure out whether we're going to have federal money in this or not. And depending on what the board decides to do in the next month or so, we'll be bringing a contract amendment for Neil Schaefer back before you all for one of two things. But that contract amendment will be to purchase right-of-way for Phase 2. So that will be coming as soon as the board makes a decision on what they want to do with Phase 1.
All right, Phase 2, the right-of-way has been purchased on the west side,
For the multi-use path, yes.
but it has been, all the right-of-way on the west side of Bozeman has been purchased to widen.
Well, not for the roadway widening. It's
Just for the bike trail.
Just for the bike trail.
Okay. And so that, tell us where that stretch starts and ends.
That stretch will be from, if Phase 1 were to be completed, it would start from the southern end of where the Gluckstadt intersection improvements stopped to the northern end of where the Reunion Parkway intersection improvements stopped. So the section, we'll just say from Gluckstadt Road to Reunion Parkway for ease of.
Well, why would, if we put with the utility contractors in the county, if we've got 10 million in Phase 1 and it quote unquote may be too expensive, why would we start a brand new phase and run through environmentals, design, right away? I mean, you're just gonna add millions and millions of dollars on top of the construction bid.
And
I don't-
nobody's gonna be relieved from any traffic, and things are gonna take even longer.
We're working on it now.
I
All right,
understand.
let's stay on 2. And one thing that is missing here that hadn't been said is that the intersection there on Reunion and Bozeman is, it's gonna be done. It's included in the contract that was let for Reunion Crossing, right?
Yes.
So that intersection is already, it's not under construction, but we've already let that contract.
Right.
All right, now, the reason I want to move back up to Bozeman 2 is, we just did a lot of okay for Stribling Road. We working on Catholic Road, doing some work there as well. And that's where our traffic is. And my not concern, but my major thing is moving traffic off of Stribling down Catholic through Gluckstadt. Not just stop it at Gluckstadt, but through Gluckstadt. And that's the reason that I'm interested in, I am the person to move traffic on on Phase 2. Because if we can widen Phase 2 and do the intersection there at Gluckstadt and Catholic, get it to where it moves traffic, and then put the traffic on down to the interstate down Bozeman, or let them take a left and go on Gluckstadt Road, which I understand that City of Gluckstadt is interested in widening Gluckstadt Road as well. that would do tremendous amount of traffic moving for that area, for the Gluckstadt area.
Absolutely.
Tim,
Yeah, there's,
question though. Say we vote to re-advertise Phase 1 of Bozeman today. How long does the advertisement last?
it's a 30-day advertisement.
So in 30 days, all goes well, we accept a bid. What is the time frame of starting construction, or when would, and from today, when would Bozeman Road Phase 1 be complete? To best estimate, I'm not gonna.
2.5 years.
2.5 years, so it's 24, so it would be done early 2026? Mid 2026?
Yes, sir.
And these other things, number 39, 40, 41, you said that they would be 2028.
That's when they would go to
So-
construction.
We're putting in MPO grant applications for money we may or may not get to widen roads 4 years from now. Or we can make efforts today to have relief in the county in a year and a half.
I mean,
It's just a
is that
matter.
a-
I'm just saying, the roads that we applied for, these roads, the Weisenberg, the Stribling, all that is important. But that is another term away from where we are right now. We can have relief to citizens in Madison County on a project we've already put out for bid once. I don't understand the pushback on why we do not want to put it out for bid again. Worst case scenario, we deny it. And we send it back to the engineer to say, hey, maybe we don't need to go all the way up to Union Parkway. Maybe we need to slow this down a bit. This is where we're at. Maybe we need to get it rebid or reevaluated from our engineering perspective, from NDOT, to say, okay, this is where we need to be. But if we've put this bid out once, we obviously thought we could pay for it at that amount. We put it out again, 30 days, we get a bid, hopefully we get one that we can accept. And in mid-2026, the citizens of Madison County have a more direct path and relief from traffic, and they're not waiting on a pipe dream of 2028. And Bozeman Road 2 is great. I say we want to make continuous efforts to make things better. It can't happen overnight. Unfortunately, we as a county can't play the Mississippi Lottery and hope that millions and millions of dollars fall in our pocket. But what we can do is spend the money we've got in the best places possible and get traffic flowing somewhere as soon as possible. We have money for this, otherwise we wouldn't have bid it before. Why can't we bid it again? What is the pushback?
I think you said 2 or 3 things very important there. Spend your money wisely where we can get the best bang for the buck of moving traffic. And our traffic is in the Gluckstadt area at Stribling Road, Catholic Road, Gluckstadt Road. Guys, that's where our traffic is. If we do Phase 1 on the south end, that's not gonna help moving the traffic up there on the northern end. And the northern end is all county. I mean, it's all 100% county. And so that's the reason that I'm in favor of looking at Bozeman.
But there are lots of people
second.
in Bozeman who need traffic relief.
Hold on.
It's not just
But-
about.
But that's the reason I'm saying on Bozeman too, is that will give us relief traffic off the Stribling Catholic Gluckstadt Road. I mean, to me, that's where our traffic is. We've been working on this now for 8, 10, 12 years. Same way it is on Yandle Road. Guys, we got to continue to work and move traffic on Yandle Road.
So we've
'cause that's
been
in the
working on
county.
it for 8, 10,
So-
12 years, so we want to work on it for 10, 12, 16 years, and still everybody's on the 2-lane road?
No, we're doing work on Catholic now. I mean, it's
We are?
out for bid, so we're moving forward. But this is the key at this point, is to open up Bozeman where Once you move traffic down Catholic, it can go straight to Bozeman and get on the interstate right there, and it will relieve traffic off of Stribling.
Willing to throw
tremendously.
away possibly have $7.5 million of state funding, and the generosity and the integrity of the board questioned by the people who spent millions of dollars to remove telephone poles and gas lines and
No.
relocate stuff, to say, oh, we decided we're not going to do this, we're going to work on this completely other end, that we still have 4 or 5 more years before we can do anything.
No, it's,
And we're going to want you to move telephone poles there too.
it's not that
You
at
don't
all.
think we're going to get pushed back?
It's not that at all, but, to me, we need to do the intersection at Gluckstadt and Bozeman. We really need to do that now to get that, and that's, what's that, 12 months, 15 months?
Probably, if
Something
we
like
did it
that
as
would
an
help
independent
tremendously
project.
as well. But anyway, this is where we are, and I
Okay.
think we've discussed this thing well enough, and let's just see, do we have a motion? Do we have a plan?
I'd like to submit a motion for the second meeting in a row to rebid Bozeman Phase 1.
Okay, I got a motion on the table to rebid Phase 1. Do I have a second?
I want a second, because I believe that the work and the effort from the federal delegation, we have CMPD money, we have state money, we have environmentals done, we have the design done, we bought right away, we moved utilities. And this bait and switch and designing roads and then stopping for construction is an old trick that's been used in Madison County for years and years. And we're right back where we were, 10 years ago, and it's time for us to actually follow through and build a road out. So I'm gonna second it.
Okay, we got a motion, got a second, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? No?
No.
All right, we're back to where we are at this point, and we'll move forward. But Greg, I wanna make sure I understood what you said yesterday with the 7.5 million, as far as we could start anywhere, spend that money anywhere on Bozeman.
Yes, sir. That is the position that was relayed to me by the Department of Finance and Administration. My opinion means nothing, theirs means everything.
Okay,
And they
I
said
got
you can move
Wait
it.
a minute, they related that to you verbally?
Correct. We can get it in writing if need be, but
That's what we need.
I'm confident enough to say that
So are
that's-
these the paying people that gave us the 5 million?
Yes. Well, the legislature gave it. DFA is the one that cuts the check and maintains the monitoring over said money, and they're the agency that would claw it back if it were misspent or if something went wrong with it. But that's what y'all pay me for, to make sure nothing goes wrong with it.
All right, thank you, Greg. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Greg.
Fellas, did a good job.
Thank you, Tim.
All right, Mike, you're up.
Good morning, Board.
Morning.
Good morning.
Item 42 relates to the petition of Joanne Pearson to be approved by this board or disapproved by this board to be a candidate for Election Commission District 3. So Gina, thank you for handing out certain documents. I'd like, Mr. Chairman, to give the history of this, the facts surrounding it, my research, and make a recommendation.
Okay.
I'm going to do it as quickly as I can. The matter involves this before us because the statute provides that candidates for election commission must be approved by the Board of Supervisors and then passed on to the Madison County Election Commission for names to be put on the ballot. 2 weeks ago, there were 5 candidates for election commission on the consent agenda. These are usually perfunctory matters. But 2 weeks ago, Walter Young Jr. came to the podium, the gentleman,
Right.
and he made a statement to the board, made a presentation very briefly, that Ms. Joanne Pearson's candidacy was disqualified, should be disqualified by this board because her qualifying statement of intent to run was incomplete. So the board removed Mrs. Pearson's name from the list of approvals on the consent agenda. You asked me to look into it, to do an investigation, and to make a recommendation, and so that's what I'm doing today. Now, we never know how these things are going to end, so I would like to make a record of my research, my findings, and my recommendation. And I'll just go to the bottom line. I'm going to recommend to this board that they approve Ms. Joanne Pearson's candidacy for Election Commission District 3. My recommendation is that you approve it, but we need to make a record. Now, when Mr. Young stood 2 weeks ago and said that Mrs. Pearson's intent statement was incomplete, that was the basis of my research. So I want to take you through this. And, Mr. Chairman, everything I read, I would like to be entered into the minutes.
Okay.
So if you look at this candidate for certificate of candidate petition, signatures county registry, I'll go to page 2. So this is Mrs. Pearson's qualifying statement of intent, which was filed on January 22nd, but the certification was filed by January 30th, 2024. So on her qualifying statement of intent, and these matters were the matters that were raised by Mr. Young, he said that she should be disqualified because on this petition, there are several areas that are left blank. On it, she has her name, her address, her phone number, and then at the bottom where it says, I've never been convicted of bribery, I've never been convicted of felony, but then there's a check that says, I meet all constitutional, statutory, and other legal requirements. It's dated, it's filed by January 30th by Ronnie Lott, our Chancellor Clerk. And so, based on his supposition, her candidacy should be disqualified because her qualification papers are incomplete. All right, so you asked me to look into it, and I've done this. Here are my findings. If you go to the next page, this is the petition that all candidates for election commission must submit. There must be at least 50 signatures from residents, electors within District 3, most of whom are in Ridgeland. On the candidate petition, it has the county, the petition, County Election Commission, has her name, and has the district, District 3. And there are at least 55 signatures which were certified by Anita Ray, our circuit clerk, as being viable electors in District 3. So if you look at the statute, which I've also supplied for you, and I would like to put it into the record. So when you look at whether someone is qualified to be an election commission, you have to look at the intent, yes, the intent for qualifications, but you have to also look at what's included on petition that the voter signed to endorse her to be confirmed for that office. You have to look at both of them together. So I will say this. So even though Mrs. Pearson's first document appears to be incomplete in the sense that not everything was filled out, it did not identify the county. It did not identify the election commission district that she intends to run in. It did not say whether she had been convicted of an infamous crime, and it didn't state the date of the election. However, if you look at that first page, she did check the box that it says, I did meet all constitutional, statutory, and other legal requirements. So if she checked that box, the other two that she didn't check they're redundancies. Because if you meet all, then you met all. So I believe that the first two boxes are incomplete, but the third one covers those first two. That's the first thing. If you read the statute, which I've supplied, the statute is 2315-213, and in particular subsection 3 and subsection 4. It talks about the elements that a candidate for election commission must provide in order for the candidacy to be sufficient. You must reside in Madison County District 3. You must file all necessary paperwork of candidacy by the deadline of 5 p.m. on February 1st, 2024. You must present a petition personally signed by 50 electors in Madison County District 3 by the deadline of February 1st, 2024. You should declare your party affiliation, if any, and you must declare that you are not otherwise not unqualified to run. So if you look at both the documents together, she filed on time. She declared that she was not disqualified to run based on the felony and the rest. Her name is there. The position she's running for election commission is there in the petition. And she resides at Madison County District 3. So if you look at all of those together, I believe that is sufficient. But let's go further. Let's talk about the law. We looked at several AG opinions that interpret Section 2315, 213, 3, and 4. And there are many. But I chose about 3 of them that I think are most pertinent to this conversation. If you look at the 3, which would be Martin, Clark, and White, there are 3 standards that this board should consider when they're determining sufficiency of candidacy. The first one is benefit of the doubt. If you have a doubt about someone's petition, the benefit of the doubt should be resolved in favor of the voters, because they're the one that will have the ultimate job of deciding whether somebody will be election commissioner. The second standard is strict compliance. Strict compliance means these things must be set out in your petitions, and if they're not set out in your petition, then you are disqualified automatically. And then third is substantial compliance. So these are the elements that within the petition, looking at it together in a wholesome fashion, that are beyond strict compliance, but substantial compliance. Right. So when you look at strict compliance within the language of the AG opinions, these are the things that must be set forth. If they're not set forth, then this person would not be qualified. The first is she must set forth her residency in the county and in the district. And that is set forth, in the petition of signatures. Number 2, it must be filed by the prescribed deadline. Clearly, Mrs. Pearson filed by February 1st, 5 o'clock, 2024. Thirdly, there must be a petition presented with at least 50 qualified electors. Our own circuit clerk says that Ms. Pearson submitted a petition with 55 signatures of qualified electors. And the fourth, that you are not otherwise disqualified. And she checked the box in the statement of intent. So I submit to you that all of the elements relating to the standard of strict compliance have been fulfilled by Mrs. Pearson, if you consider both documents that she submitted on the same day to Righty Lott and to Anita Ray. Now, the remaining requirements, substantial compliance, in your discretion, you have to determine based on the facts if Mrs. Pearson fulfilled the standard of substantial compliance, which makes her enable sufficiently to run for the office of election commission. And again, the benefit of the doubt is resolved in favor of the electors of Madison County. So looking at all the documents on the face of them, I believe that no voters are misled. Clearly, the 55 that signed the petition, her name is on there. The office that she's seeking is on there. The district she's running is on there. If you look at the first petition, she's not disqualified to run. And she is also qualified to the standard of mandatory things, but also substantial elements that are incomplete. But for the benefit of the doubt of the voter, I believe that is on there. Now, the final issue is a little bit of concern. And that is within the statute, it says that you have to indicate your party, that your party affiliation. It says, if any. So that means that if any means you don't have to put it there if you don't have one. Now, standing here, I assume that Ms. Pearson would be qualified as a Republican candidate. That's my assumption. Ms. Pearson isn't here, but from everything I'm assuming and the folks I've talked to, she very likely will be qualified by the Election Commission as a Republican candidate for that office. I believe that that element is one that is in the substantial compliance and not strict compliance area. I also believe that it's not your job to prepare the ballot. The job to prepare the ballot is the Madison County Election Commission. I also believe that between now and Election Day in November, if you approve this candidacy, if you certify it, if you present it to the Madison County Election Commission for preparation of the ballot, they will resolve this issue, whether Ms. Pearson has no party or if she's a member of one party. And I don't believe that's your job. I certainly don't believe it's enough not filling out a blank certifying your party affiliation is enough to disqualify someone from running for office. So, based on the research that I've done, based on talking to two very qualified lawyers who are listening to me today, Mr. Howard Brown, who is an attorney but is also, I believe, chairman of the Madison County Democratic Party. I spoke to him twice about these matters, and he may want to speak after I get through, I don't know. But I want you to know that Mr. Young, who spoke, he told us his name, but he did not say that he was a candidate for Election Commission District 3. Maybe didn't have to say that, but he didn't say that. If he had said that to all of us, maybe our antenna would have gone up. But I believe that Mr. Young was speaking to disqualify an opponent. Also, Dr. Spence Flatguard at length, he's also here. He may speak or not speak, I don't know. But he was very helpful on this with me. So I would say to you, also just before I got up to speak, Greg handed to me a letter from Carol Mann. I hurriedly read it before I got up to speak, and it is basically in favor of disqualifying Mrs. Pearson, and she sets forth her reasons. I quickly read it, and I believe it also should be entered into the record, but it covers most of the points I made. But she's also here, and maybe she would also like to speak. So, in sum and substance, you asked me to research this. I've done it. I've looked at Mrs. Pearson's intent, submission, her petition. I've read the statute. I've talked to counsel for and against this. I read the Attorney General opinions. I believe that the benefit of the doubt for any incompleteness that remains should be resolved in favor of the voters of District 3 on Election Day. I believe certainly that Mrs. Pearson has met all of the strict compliance standards necessary by the statute, and the remaining areas where they were incomplete are, if you look at the petition itself, satisfies the substantial compliance features of this, so that the voters are not misled, so that they certainly know that her name is Pearson, she lives where she lives in District 3, Madison County. She's running. They know the date of the election, and it's enough to qualify her for this position, and that is my recommendation.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. With that being said, I'm going to make a motion for approval with also to enter the information, Mike. To enter the information Mike handed out proving the point, which is these 4 documents. So that's my motion at this point. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion, got a second. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Paul.
I heard all what you're saying, Mike. But what you saying, what you telling me to believe what you saying instead in my eyes. What I'm looking at on this here form is incomplete. And that's why we took it off the agenda last time. They had to put on that form for a reason. What county you run it in, the day of the election, the district. It's there for a reason, and it's not filled out on this form that I'm looking at right here. And I looked at it close. She did not add nothing since the last election, far as I can tell. So it's still incomplete. That's my thought on it.
My thoughts are, as an informed voter, I personally could not go to the ballot box and check a name for somebody to represent me and run elections that can't fill out simple paperwork, because I know for a fact that a election commissioner is not a simple job. They work hard, especially on election day and the weeks leading up to election day. They need to be organized and wherewithal. That said, I personally, while the paperwork is incomplete, it, according to our attorney, he says that it meets the letter of the law, if not the intent.
Strict compliance.
Yes, and should be considered.
All right, anything else, Mike, anything else you need
No.
to say?
No.
If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?
No.
Okay. And also, Mike, these are the 4 documents that I asked to be entered into that motion. Are these only 4?
The letter from Mrs. Mann.
And supporting document on why she should be disqualified.
Okay, if you would,
Like it.
please bring that up. Yes, ma'am, bring that up as well. You want to get these and make sure. Do it.
This does relate to Ms. Bergansky.
Oh, Ms. Bergansky, but then, hang on, I have Ms. Bergansky and also Ms. Pearson.
Oh,
Ms. Bergansky.
All right, let me see those.
One is Ms. Bergansky, that one, Ms. Bergansky, that's the top one, right, Ms. Bergansky.
We just want to, I would want to make a motion to enter it, that's all.
That to be in the minutes in case it came out, but Ms. Pearson is for today.
Okay, is this everything you want to enter into the minutes?
I do, I'd also.
Okay. Okay, I got a motion to enter this document into the minutes, February the 20th, 2024.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Ronnie, do you have all these 5 documents? Greg? Give that to Ronnie if you will. He has all of them? Okay, good deal. All right, Mike, you still up?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll be very quick on this. This relates to the issue of the Canton municipal utilities. Maybe 2 meetings ago, I asked you to acknowledge a letter from CMU requesting the amount of $95,117.93 from the Board of Supervisors relating to lease payments that we received from CMU that we acknowledge that we did not forward to MACWA. So it's a long and convoluted issue.
Right.
There's a lawsuit now that is still pending between CMU and MACWA. The board is not involved in that, and we don't want to be involved in that.
Right.
So, so when we discussed this matter, whether we were liable or not liable, whether we owed it, we didn't owe it, with the acknowledgement of the CFO and the administrator, we owe this amount of money. Maybe not the interest, but the principal.
Right.
But the board asked me to do what I could do to mitigate the issue, or maybe get resolved completely. And so I was able to do that. So I'd like the motion to acknowledge this letter from the CMU chairman of February 14, 2014. And it says, on behalf of CMU, please accept this letter as a rescission of CMU's previous letter dated November 14, 2023. CMU wishes specifically to rescind its demand that the Madison County Board of Supervisors remit payment of $95,117.93 to CMU for payments previously issued to the county from CMU under a July 26, 2001 lease agreement. So this is the rescission letter. I request that it be acknowledged.
Second.
Got a motion, Supervisor Griffin, second Supervisor Baxter, and this is huge. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, Mike, and I appreciate you negotiated or talking to get this taken care of, because with this letter, it is forgiven, so to
Yes.
speak. You know, and regardless whether we collected, 5 million or 15 or 20 million, with this letter, it shows that they want to work with the Board of Supervisors as well.
Yes.
You know, so hopefully, all of that can continue to move forward down the road, for the better of Madison County.
Well, that's my job,
Yep.
to
Just say
carry out
this
your
today, the 6,000.
assignments. You asked me to try to do it, and it's done. And here it is.
Okay, thank you. We got a motion.
I got something else for Mike, but yeah, I motioned already.
Got a motion,
Yeah.
second, all in favor? Aye, all opposed?
Well, thanks, Mike,
Opposed?
for doing a
Said aye.
Oh, okay.
good job of saving us $96,000.
That's
My
okay.
other question is, have you heard anything from the city on the permit for the Comcat
Yes.
permit?
Yes. 2 weeks ago, I spoke with city authorities, and there was a delay. It was a bureaucratic delay. It's not that they don't want to do it. Evidently, the Comcast, whatever you call the building,
Oh.
what you call it?
I call it the whole.
The hull, okay.
Everything gonna be going in there.
Yeah, well, they have their steady requirements for what that ought to look like. And maybe bricks or something, I don't even know how big it is. But it had to go through the architecture committee of the city of Canton, and then to the zoning committee, and then to the alderman, and it just got caught up in all of that. So I requested that they expedite this, maybe all meet together in one meeting and just approve this, and I think that is gonna happen. So I don't have an answer today for you, but I know it's moving more quickly than it was a month ago.
I see a city person in here. If you don't, March 1st? March 1st.
There you
All
go.
right. Great, thanks.
Thank you. That's what we try to do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Before we move forward, we did not enter the minutes or the package from Phyllis into our minutes that she handed out at the very beginning, so I'll make a motion to enter those minutes. Do I have a
Thank
second? Second, Supervisor Griffin, discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Ronnie, do you have a copy, you say? Do you have a copy? Good deal. Thank you.
Greg, before you get going, I need to make a motion to put these road project funding mechanisms in the minutes.
Got a motion by Supervisor Baxter, I'll second. Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Did we leave out anything that needs to be in the minutes? Anybody
Not that I
think
am
of?
aware of.
Okay.
And if I
Okay,
could
Greg,
find that.
you're up. You've covered item 46, so let's start at 43.
All right, item 43 is to authorize the duties and responsibilities of the county administrator. This is simply to make an audit finding go away. If you will look at your attachment, the last 2 pages are a page or a copy or an excerpt from our audit of 2021. And I feel quite certain y'all did this in the 80s, but I also feel quite certain it is far more efficient for us to spend 30 seconds passing it today than it is for me to spend 2 hours in the basement trying to find an original file from the 80s because I don't know what meeting it happened at.
I'll second the motion. Motion Supervisor Griffin, I'll second. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
All right. Item 44 is me requesting authority to present an invoice to Canton Tourism for repair of the courthouse grounds. When they agreed, or when they have events on the courthouse grounds, sometimes the grass gets messed up. It's just a fact of life. You've got folks trampling through for the flea market. You've got carnival rides. You've got a whole bunch of things that happen over there that frequently damages grass and sprinkler heads. So what I am requesting is this board authorize me to essentially hand that invoice to Canton Tourism and have them fix the grass. It is a Wilson and Wilson irrigation invoice because those are the folks that installed the irrigation system. And when this board spent, I think it's about 150 grand a few years back, they're the ones that did the work. And as I've said in this very room before, I like having one group to be mad at if something breaks. If we start inviting others to touch projects, I have to yell at multiple people, and that is time consuming. I'd rather just have one to yell at.
Do I have a motion? I'll make a motion for approval. Do I have a second? And guys, this is monies that they're actually messed up the grass themselves.
And we did present them an $8,000 invoice last year, but nothing came from it. There were no repairs made, and it's only deteriorated since then.
Yeah.
So 20,000 now or another 150 in a few years.
And if they refuse to pay this one, we need to have a contract with them of some sort. But anyway, we have a motion on the table. Do we have a second? No second. It fails for a second. So let's move on to item 45.
Item 45 is to request that this board ratify an emergency declaration. Fair enough.
Got a motion, Supervisor Griffin. I'll
That
second.
is on the sheriff's department, right?
Correct. That's the busted water line at the SO.
Yeah.
And it was an
water
emergency.
back.
Sheriff's sitting there.
Okay, we've got a motion. Have a second. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
All right, and then I've got item 46, but
We've already discussed that.
yes, sir. So, thank you.
Knocked that one in the head. All right, Nassan?
Good morning. Item number 47 is the approval of the budget amendments and the interfund cash transfers.
I'll make a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Supervisor Griffin. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Number 48 and 49 and 50 is for the approval of the general claims docket and 2 payroll dockets.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Supervisor Griffin. Do I have a second? I'll second. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Item 51.
Mr. Griffin?
Item 51 is approval of the Planning and Zoning Commission, their per diem for February.
I'll make a motion for approval. Do I have a second? Second, Supervisor Brandon. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Supervisor Baxter, as soon as Supervisor Griffin gets back in, would you take item 52, please?
Ready.
Item number 52 is approval of the Fleet Corps claim docket.
I have a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Yes. And then the last item, number 53, is approval to submit to MDA monthly requests for reimbursement.
Do I have a motion? I'll make the motion for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Supervisor Brandon. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nassan. All right, Mr. Lott?
Nothing, Mr. President.
Hey, Sheriff,
Morning.
good morning.
We need to acknowledge the MDOC billing for the month of February in the amount of $5,188.91.
I'll make a motion for approval.
Second.
Second, Supervisor Griffin, discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
I don't recall which order these next items were in, but we have a K-9 that has reached the age and actually has a medical issue with her front right foot, and the officer is actually leaving the department, and we would like to retire that K-9, not to take her away from that officer. She's 8 years, it says 7, but she's actually just turning 8. And it's just not feasible to try to retrain her at this point for another year of service out of her. We'd like to let her enjoy the rest of her life with her lifelong handler. So I would request that the board consider making a motion to retire Kelly and let her live out her life with Deputy Smith.
Motion.
Got a motion, Supervisor Brandon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Supervisor Griffin, discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Thirdly, we have an amendment for our food services agreement with Summit Food Services for our inmate meals. Just like everything else, you can see by that chart there that they're going up. I think we're going up from like $1.34 to probably in the $1.43 to $1.45 range based on the average daily inmate count, which is right now around 341 to 360. It fluctuates a few each day based on entry and exits of those inmates, but I'd like to ask for a motion to approve that amendment to that contract and those
Do I have a
reflected
motion?
prices.
I'll make a motion for approval to second, Supervisor Griffin, discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
And last but not least, a sole source declaration. I think you did this back in December for EMA on a drone that they use. We have partnered with them for drone services, and they do a fantastic job. Deputy Everett, and we have actually deputized members of the EMA staff. And we're looking to purchase a second one, but we want it to be compatible with the one that's in existence that we have. So we think it would be after discussions with Greg, we think it'd be a lot cleaner process to have that sole source declaration made again for the purchase of a second one.
Motion.
Got a motion, Supervisor Griffin. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Supervisor Brandon. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you, Sheriff. Old business? New business? And Mr. Deason asked us to adjourn February 26th at 9 a.m. He has some business to bring in front of us. So do I have a motion to adjourn to February 26th at 9 a.m.?
Motion.
Got a motion, Supervisor Griffin. I'll second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
February 26th on,
All right.
that's on